Alright, so welcome back. In this video, we're going to take a quick look at a few more semantic elements, okay? So overall, our page is pretty good. I think there's a couple things that we can do to improve the structure here, okay? So looking through our code here, we have this section here that has our H1 in it and then our navigation elements in it, or our nav element with the navigation elements inside of it, okay? And then right here is where like the main content of the page lives, right? Starting at this first H2 here. So I think we can actually represent these two sections better by leveraging some of the semantic elements in HTML5. So back over on MDN here, I'm going to go down to our HTML reference, our HTML element section here. Let's expand this list. And I want to go scroll down through here, and we are looking for an element called header. And here it is. So let's click on the header. So okay, here it says the header HTML element represents introductory content, typically a group of introductory or navigational aids. So a moment ago when we were looking at our code, remember we have our nav element in there, so that's our overall site navigation here, our overall page navigation. And then it also says in the next line here that it may contain some heading elements, but also a logo, search form, an author name, and other elements. So I think we can use this header element here to better structure our page content and our markup to provide some better meaning for our page. So if we scroll down, we kind of look at their first little example here. They have a header element, right? And inside of it, they have an H1. In this case, they have their image, their logo image inside the header as well. I think what we're going to do is we're going to wrap our H1 and our nav element in a header element. So let's pop over to our code editor and let's add in our header element now. All right, so back over in VS Code here, I'm going to go right here above our H1 here, and I'm just going to add in a header element, okay, just like that. And let's grab in our our closing tag here. We'll cut that, and then we'll put it just after our closing nav tag here. Now we need to fix our indentation here. Let's grab from that closing header, and let's tab everything over one. That should line everything up nicely, and indeed it does. And now we can maybe get rid of that space if we want. You know, it's not overly complex in the markup here. It's pretty easy to see, you know, the H1 and the nav here. And if we were to look at our page in our browser here, we see no difference. We can inspect though now, and now we see that we have our whole header section. You see this big blue section, that's our content for our header. It now contains, if we expand this here, it now contains our H1 in our nav element. All right, so now that we have that, a moment ago I said, when we were looking at our markup, you know, I was saying that the section that we just did here, the H1 in our nav, that could be our header, and then below here, this is like the actual main content of the page. Well, as it would turn out, there is an element called main in HTML5. So let's go back over to MDN and let's go look at that element now. Okay, so here's the main element. Let's click on it. And let's read a little bit about it here. So the main HTML element represents the dominant content of the body of a document. So again, on our page, really, the header stuff that we just wrapped is not the main content of the body element. Now, that stuff is all within our body element, right? Because we want it to show up in our browser window here, but it's not the actual main content of the body element. That's all the stuff that lives here starting at this first H2 element. So we can express that meaning in that structure by using the main element here. So what we can do is if we go back to VS Code, right here, we can go ahead and add a main element, okay? And again, we'll grab our closing tag here. We'll cut that. We'll come down to just above our closing body tag there. Okay, and let's grab all of this. We need to indent all of that over. Oops, didn't mean to go that far up. And then let's just tab this in to get some nice indentation there, okay? So now this should be nice and in line, and indeed it is. So okay, let's save that, and now let's go back to our page. Let's refresh. Again, nothing has changed, but now we've got some more semantic markup in our document here, okay? We're providing some better meaning, some better structure to it. I know I've been saying that a lot here, but it's really something worth focusing on when you're creating HTML pages. So now we can see we really have these two main sections of our page here. We have the header with our main H1 and our navigational elements in it, and then this main element that has the actual main content of our document in it. So that's a couple more of the semantic elements in HTML5. You know, if you find yourself with some time or you get curious, and I suggest, you know, just kind of scrolling through this list and just seeing what's out there. You know, you don't have to go through the whole thing. You can obviously if you want to. You know, no one's going to stop you from doing that. But it's good to kind of look through here and just know what's available, even if you don't know really what it's for. Just to see it and know that it exists can be useful later on when you're going to when you're actually writing some markup. Hopefully, it triggers a memory. Then oh, I remember seeing that there was a legend element. What does that do? Maybe that could serve my purpose here. And also, for example, there's a footer element. This is a great semantic element to use for making footers on your pages. All right, so we're going to wrap this video up here, and we're going to take a quick detour from our horoscope project and start looking at HTML forms. So I will see you there.